Well, I'm going to talk about something different today because it's something that bugged me. When somebody turns around and accuses somebody that this person was corrupt, but there's no evidence of corruption, but there's a lot of evidence of corrupt people shouting corruption. I'm going to talk about a guy called Viktor Shokin. He used to be the former Attorney General, prosecutor, head honcho of the law in Ukraine. Now, that's a difficult job because it is wrought with corruptions and money and everything else because of the oligarchy system and how corrupt Ukraine has always been. I'm going to give you a little taste of something because don't forget in recent days that Obama has sealed the Obama-Biden Ukraine files from the Senate. They're hiding something about Ukraine, people, and it's not about Burisma. Trust me when I say that. This is far more to do with a possibility that the Americans funded a proxy war in Ukraine. But I digress. We're going to talk about missing money another day. But let's talk about Mr. Viktor Shokin here. I want to take us to this sentence here. Daria Kalinuk, Executive Director of the Kiev-based Anti-Corruption Action Center, or ANTAC, told RFRL that Shokin dumped important criminal investigations on corruption associated with former President Viktor Yanukovych, including the Burisma case. The call came as Kiev awaited $400 million in Pentagon State Department military assistance. Now, a lot of money was going into Ukraine at that time. I mean, a lot of money. And 1.8 billion of it has disappeared into a bank called Priap Bank. But we'll go into that another day, like I said, because it all connects. All of it connects. People are making a lot of money from backhanders, but also at the same time, was this funding an illegal war? That is a big question, because that's what it's looking like. The money machine, high-profile corruption investigation fell apart. This talks from The Guardian of the case. I'll take us to the point here. It was on the 14th of April 2014 the money was frozen at a special court hearing in London requested by the Serious Fraud Office as described in the later court judgment. The Serious Fraud Office argued that there were reasonable grounds to believe that the defendant, Slavkovsky, had engaged in criminal conduct in Ukraine and the funds in the BNP account were believed to be the proceeds of such criminal conduct. 20th May, everything going badly here. It's all going Pete Tong for the British government. Because there's lots of other people involved in this story. It's a good read. It's a very long read. But it's worth your time. The Irish Times. Now, this is where I'm going to show you the connections as to why Shokin was smeared. It's got nothing to do with Biden, believe it or not. Although that was the excuse used to get rid of him with smoke and mirrors, was that the Vice President put pressure on him to go because of the investigation into Burisma. So Jan Tombiski, the EU's envoy to Ukraine. Mr. Tombiski said the EU considered resignation or dismissal of several former pro-sales, blah blah blah. Shokin's investigation, a highly anti-corruption of his reference to Kiev's Anti-Corruption Action Center, which had fiercely criticised Mr. Shokin. Now, why would the Anti-Corruption Center, a non-profit organisation, be on the attack of an Attorney General that's only been in the office since 2015? He's not even been in there long enough. Why is that? That's the question you should be asking. Well, who are these people? Well, there they are. ANTAC, Zero Corruption State, our goals, our results. It's a slick page. It's so slick. It's Office ANTAC.org, about our support, vacancies, top cases, special projects. Oh, actually said 2012 to 2020. 2012, who was involved? Who is the anti-corruption group? But let's go to Jan Tomlinski. There he is here. Next door to him is a guy called Donald Tusk, former president of Poland, became president of Europe, was involved in a big scandal in 2010 that the majority of Polish people will never forgive him for. That's a story for another day as well. All ties up, especially with Viktor Pinchuk. Another oligarch. Another name. Shimon Mogilevich. Oh, another name. You know, these names just drop out of the hat, don't they? And of course now here, AP, the Associated Press, interview with ex-Polish President defends Biden and Burisma. Alexander Kwaśniewski, a former Polish president who was on the board of the Ukrainian gas company of Burisma, said Thursday that Hunter Biden was indeed chosen to join its advisory board because of his name. Now, I have a funny feeling, just to be on this thing, but I have a funny feeling, I've just remembered this while I'm doing this. We'll put this word in. And there you have the other connection. I've just remembered this, the Atlantic Council, all ties together beautifully. So we got to there. So we got to here with Alexander Kwaśniewski. Now why? Here we have again the anti-corruption, how the GPO, headed by Yarema, Shokin and Lushenko, together dumped criminal investigations into Zlochevsky. Now, when you read this is about in 2014 to 2015, General Prosecutor's Office of Ukraine, managed by Vitaly Yarema, at the moment assisted by Mykola Zlochevsky, with unblocking 23.5 million seized in the UK. So nothing to do with Shokin. Yarema, who was the previous Attorney General, was involved in this. 2014. Now, bear in mind, Shokin didn't become Attorney General to 2015. 2014, October, well, Shokin had already been kicked out of being the Attorney General. So this talks about everything here. On the 23rd of December. Now I want you to read this bit, because this explains everything. NABU has taken over this case. NABU managed to establish violations during the issue of license, namely its absence of approval of municipal authorities. However, first of all, SAP closed the case. So NABU was in charge of the Biden Burisma Holdings investigation. Nothing to do with Shokin. But what was Shokin looking into? Why is this group, anti-corruption, this non-profit organisation, integral to all this story? US Embassy pressed Ukraine to drop probe of George Soros Group during 2016 election. While 2016 president was raging in May, Ukrainian prosecutors ran into some especially strong headwinds as they pursued an investigation into the activities of a non-profit in their homeland known as the Anti-Corruption Action Center, or ANTAC. The focus of ANTAC, whose youthful street activists famously wore Ukraine Fuck Corruption t-shirts, was a part of a larger probe by Ukraine Prosecutor General's Office into whether 4.4 million in US funds to fight corruption inside the former Soviet Republic had been improperly diverted. The prosecutors soon would learn the resistance they faced when blowing directly from the US Embassy in Kiev, where the Obama administration took the rare step of trying to press the Ukrainian government to back off its investigation of both US aid and the group. The investigation into the Anti-Corruption Action Center, based on the assistance they have received from its similar misplaced then embassy charge d'affaires George Kent, remember him, the one with the bow tie, wrote the prosecutor's office in a letter that also argued US officials had no concerns about how the US aid had been spent. A few months later, Yuri Lushenko, a widely regarded hero of the West for spending 2 years in prison after fighting Russian aggression in his country, was named prosecutor general and invited to meet the US ambassador to Ukraine, Maria Yovanovitch. You know, that one. All these names, they just keep appearing. They keep saying the same names. But why is that? Hero Lushenko and Soros Group, ANTAC, rebuts new accusations of the Hill journalist. Isn't that interesting? On April 4th, 2000, PH received a letter from the US Embassy. Yuri Lushenko, who was appointed to the position of Prosecutor General in May, agreed that the allegations were groundless, and he even said they simply dishonour the Prosecutor General's Office of Ukraine. So the new guy that was put in by Biden and the Americans shut down the investigation of ANTAC. The focus of ANTAC was part of a larger probe by the Ukraine Prosecutor's General Office into whether 4.4 million in US funds to fight corruption inside the former Soviet Republic had been improperly diverted. The prosecutors soon would learn the resistance they would face directly from the US Embassy in Kiev, where the Obama administration took the rare step of trying to press the Ukrainian government back off its investigation of both US aid and the group. ANTAC was founded in 2000 by Vitaly Sherman Dunning, who formerly were activists of the Youth NGO Foundation of Regional Initiatives. Regional Initiatives. Soros again. These are Soros activists. Interesting article written by ANTAC. But it gets better. You see, one of the main players is this guy, Sergei Lushenko. Now, Sergei Lushenko is a guy you're really going to have to know his name of, because he was also involved with Angela Chalupa, the DNC operative. There's a Naboo. We'll get into that another day. So let's go down this article to here. ANTAC, Ukraine, fuck corruption. Sergei Lushenko. 1st of August 2016, Sergei Leshchenko, a Ukrainian investigative journalist then serving in Parliament, showed reporters records of an apparent secret payments to Paul Manafort, a former advisor to Ukraine's deposed president. He was accompanied by Svyagor Mazhobrovic, the editor of Ukraine Pravda. This was a stitch-up. Soros-funded group, Soros-funded idiot here, Mr. Sergei Leshchenko, involved with a group called Antak. That was embezzling money. Burisma, another corrupt organisation, was their smoke and mirrors to make you not look in that direction. In other words, you look that way while we carry on with this way. But meanwhile, $1.8 billion of US money has gone poof into a bank called Priyat Bank, which Leshchenko is connected to this guy, Kolomoisky. Now the question is, why is Obama sealed the Obama-Biden Ukrainian dealings? Is they don't want people to know what possibly could be the horrible truth here. This is a subject of thought and discussion. But did Obama use Kolomoisky to set up a private army to fight a proxy war in eastern Ukraine, funded by the International Monetary Fund that lost billions of dollars, and the Americans who lost $1.8 billion into a bank owned by Kolomoisky? We'll get into Kolomoisky another day, but this is why when people talk to me about Viktor Shokin and saying that he was corrupt, no, I think he was inept. I don't think he was corrupt, because the people that went against him, that shut him down, who put his life at an end, ruined his career, smeared his name, and notice he has never been prosecuted or charged for corruption. Viktor Shokin was just basically fired because he was in the way. He was doing something like investigating where the money was going. Think about it, because it's not what it seems.